All right, well, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin.
I'm Tarsha.
And this is, of course, Conversations with the Crawleys, where we have conversations about faith, family relationships, and recaps of some of our favorite shows. And this video is all about episode 10, season 13 of Married at First Sight. So we're going to jump right into it. Again, if this is content that you enjoy, please make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, hit that like button, and request those notifications. And we will definitely see you in the comments.
Yes, and don't forget to share.
Don't forget to share. There we go. All right. So let's kind of kick it off with Johnny and Val. We've got to spend a lot of time talking about them. This episode, they start off having a good conversation about insecurities. And she kind of opens up a lot to him, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as they're going through their exercise and really just sharing their childhood together. And so I think Johnny's really appreciating that, and it's making them even closer.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, it for me, I think it does endear Bao to Johnny more, because he's kind of getting a little beyond, he's getting a lot beyond the surface, right?
Correct.
So he's really finding out what makes her tick, and some of those things that he might write off as just her quirks or what have you. He's understanding where they come from. Right. And they do meet with the experts. In fact, everybody met with the experts this week, Dr. Viviana, right?
Right.
And so they have conversation, of course, about their intimacy level and things of that nature. And Johnny is committed to his vanilla sex.
Hey, but she's about to put some spices in it. Bao
wants a little more.
Bao's going to put some spice in it. It's going to be more than vanilla.
Bao, yeah. Y'all, you all heard the phrase, every man wants a angel in the streets, but a freak in the sheets.
Was it the angel or was it
a nice girl, whatever? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Bao is like, look, I'm trying to put it on you in the bedroom. I don't know if Johnny can handle it.
Hey, he's gonna have to learn.
He look a little scared. He looks scared.
He's gonna learn today.
Johnny, yeah, I don't know. All right. Yeah, that hente might have messed him up. He can't really deal in real life. I don't know. All right. And then let's talk Mirla and Gil.
When they met with the experts, we still, at that point, there was no kiss. And Gil was like, look, I'm at a 5. Was he at a 5? He was like,
well, because as far as like emotional intimacy, they were like, yeah, she said they're at a 7. He's like, I'm at an 8. Because, you can see that they are having some connection, right?
Right.
So it's not like she is just completely off towards him.
Right.
But it's not progressing at his pace, or the pace that he thinks it should.
Or normal pace. Let's just put it that way. This is not
typical. Yeah.
This is not typical.
Yeah.
So
and then when they do get to talking about physical intimacy, she says it's still about a 7. He's like, wait, what, really?
Right.
Is that your final answer?
Right. Because again, in his head it's like it should be lower. But because to her, they're making other connection, which increases the intimacy.
Right.
She's at a 7. And so that's surprising because they're really not talking each other's language.
Right.
They're talking their language.
Right.
He's like, I need more. And she's like, the less, the better. So.
Right. So, and he still is adamant. He's like, if I don't get a kiss, it's deuces. It's done.
It's done.
It's donezo. It's a wrap, right?
Like, girl, we ain't continue. I'm not gonna be rejected, because he's like, the more I ask for it, then it's just teasing me, and then when I'm ready to get it, I don't want to receive it. I don't want it.
I don't want it no more.
Right.
You held out. I don't want it.
I moved on.
All right. But then they do get they have their assignment from the experts, and in typical Mirla fashion, she is, nope, not going to do that. Nope, nope, not blindfolded. My eyelashes are too big, so I'm not putting a blindfold on.
They'll fall off in the blindfold. So
she ain't doing body shots.
We ain't doing nothing.
But they do get to a point where they do the cuddle and breathing exercise. Which she did that, and it was helpful.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. There's a connection.
There's a connection for me. It's building. Finally, we're
building.
technically we're 3 weeks in, but it's like, look, in a marriage, that's a lifetime, really. Right?
Dog time.
Okay.
Dog year.
So she even tells the producers in kind of one of the aside shots that she is getting closer. And we find out later on, yes,
it happened.
She kissed him
that
twice.
Thing happened.
She kissed him twice. So kudos to Mirla and Gil, who at least got past the hurdle that everybody else got past the first day. It only took them 3 weeks to get there. So kudos to Mirla for finally getting there. Now, I think also, again, we're seeing some things as far as, yes, Mirla likes shoes. She likes handbags. She likes purses. Gil is, again, kind of throwing, not so subtle shots towards her regarding that.
Yeah, but it's not as... we're not in the filming. We're not seeing that as much.
It's still like, okay, it's a little much, in my opinion, right?
It's come down to me. It's come down, but again, we're only seeing a few cuts. But she is on her phone a lot. If that's all she's looking at, his shoes and purses, I can see why you'd be like concerned if that's your main thing on your page.
Gotcha. All right. Well, all right. So yes, they've gotten their kiss.
Got a kiss.
They're moving forward. Awesome.
At least they're not getting divorced over that.
Yeah. There's other things probably coming up, but no.
Right. That. When you've been focused on just getting a kiss, now you can finally
now you got to really figure
right,
out
you move that out the way. Like, oh, I finally got the kiss. Because that's what he was saying. Is this what the thing is? Is it going to be the kiss? But again, if you're so focused on like, wow, I feel rejected, I'm not going to get kissed, you're not considering the other things that could be coming up because you're like, she's not even kissing me anyway.
Right.
So
yeah, that is a good point, that we could see other things that have been glossed over because he was so focused on, at least can a brother get a kiss? Can I get your lips pressed against me? So
right.
Yeah. All right. And then Brett and Ryan, I called her Rachel last time, but Brett and Ryan met, or called him Rachel. I don't know, whatever. Listen, y'all know we make these mistakes sometimes. It's okay.
It's okay.
We're good. All right.
It's Brett. And that's the woman and not the man.
That's right. Yes.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. Anyway. But they do meet with the expert.
Right.
They do talk about the fact that they have been intimate up to a point.
Correct.
And she has more feelings in it than he does.
Correct. Because based off of what the expert was able to pull out of him, he's living in a fantasy land. It's
just a fantasy.
So I'm like,
image in a magazine.
We need to get over that quick. Because she said, the expert stated, you're going to be single.
Yeah.
I was like, well.
Because he's looking for the whole, I want to come home, throw you up against a wall.
Right.
Just, birds flying around, doves singing.
And make out with my wife when 2 kids are running around and you got 2 dogs? She's like, I don't know what marriage. She was like, I don't know what marriage where you're gonna find that's gonna happen.
Right.
Every day. Maybe your birthday.
Right.
Maybe a special occasion.
Listen, let's just be honest. I mean,
y'all single people, y'all need to be around, like, wake up. Woo. And I ain't trying to damper on marriage. Please hear me.
Yes.
Please hear me.
But if you're looking at your greatest, rom-com or what have you, yes, those are great and wonderful. And we've been married 25 years. We have lots of couples that we have counseled, that we know that are married
no more. I mean,
married the same time as we did, are no longer married.
No longer married.
I don't know that that's realistic for the majority of relationships, right?
No.
So he's looking for this sweep her off her feet, butterflies every time I see her type of thing. And that's great if you can get that, but I don't know that that's realistic, right?
Yeah, I mean, I know you're going to have feelings for the person. You're going to be attracted to the person. Yeah. Do you want to feel like you want to come home? Yes. Like, oh, I can't wait to see my husband. I can't wait to see my wife. But I think when he was talking about like a scene out of a movie, those are the things you think about, again, when you're young and you're watching TV and like, oh, we don't do stuff in the shower. I'm black. You don't.
I was just about to say that.
You don't get stuff in the shower. Or afterwards, we're going to lay there. No, you don't lay there.
Listen.
There's more than scene one.
Right. I'm sorry. There's very rare times that when we're sleeping in bed that you're on my arm all night.
All night. You be like, oh,
my arm will be cut off.
I mean, but
it looks great when Morris Chestnut or whoever does it. It looks phenomenal. Great. Awesome. Let's talk real life.
It's not happening. But at the same time, you can create those moments and make those things happen. And you treasure them. You treasure them because when you have kids coming in the middle of the night, want to sleep in between you, when you have to get up in the middle of the night and get children, it takes a lot out of you. And so those are the things you have to work through to make time for each other.
I think that's the challenge when we're talking about a show like Married at First Sight. I think that is one of the things that we've noticed is that sometimes there's this ideal of marriage that does not match the reality. And so, yes, everyone, they want to be married. Absolutely. But have a realistic idea and concept of what that means and what that looks like, right?
Because when Brett and what's the other young lady's name? Michaela, when they met, she's like, girl, marriage is hard work.
Listen.
Marriage is hard work. Yes, it is.
There are 4-letter words that we're not going to say, but marriage and ministry are 4-letter words. They are work. Both of them are work.
Work.
And in your marriage will take effort to get where you want to go, right? It does not just come easy and come in natural, no matter how much you love each other, right?
Yep.
So he also says, talking about Brett and Ryan, so Ryan also kind of says that she's not really his type, right? And so we've kind of seen some of that. He likes her eyes. He likes kind of some things about her, but he says that she's not his type. And so, for them, he's going to have to get past that. He actually, after they meet with the experts, we find out that he actually goes back to his house for a couple of days.
Yeah. Talk about he's resetting.
He needs to reset.
And it's wonderful where people can have more than one home at the time and they can reset. But in real life, you cannot leave to reset. Now, should you need to go to counseling, go to a place where you can talk it through and think about your emotions. You talk about, your downtime is like playing video games. Yes, there has to be a time where you can think through what you're going through, but you just can't leave.
You can't check out.
And sleep somewhere for 2 days. Or if you're going to make that arrangement with your spouse, like, hey, this is not about you. Have a good communication, because it didn't sound like Brett got a good communication why he wasn't coming home until after he got back home.
Yeah.
And she was like, are you good or not good? And he's like, I'm great now. She's like, you're great now. Because he didn't really explain what his plan was when he got home.
Right. So and then they ended up doing the tantric yoga class, which we've seen couples do that before, especially those that are having some intimacy issues. So hopefully it will kind of at least spark some things between them.
Well, we kind of mentioned how that, because she felt uncomfortable with it and she was kind of making a joke of it in a sense. And so we started thinking, this is the reason why he's not getting sparks? Is her action kind of friend zoning them? Because she's like, I haven't been intimate in 2 years. Yeah, but you need to be just as engaged as he's trying to be engaged. So she has to see how she's playing a part in him not feeling sparks. You laughing and joking around when you're trying to be intimate.
Right. There's a time to laugh, there's a time to joke, what have you, but then there's a time to get to it, right?
Yeah.
And if you want to get to it with him, you got to let him know that you want to get to it with him.
Right.
Right. All right. And so let's talk about Zach and Michaela.
Yeah.
So when it first picks up, Zach is at the gym. There's this whole little workout montage that they do of him, right? Looking like $6 million man meets Magnum PI or something, right? I'm sorry, those are just shows that came to mind.
Some people may not even know what Magnum PI is.
Okay.
Well, or the $6 million man.
Well, there was the Magnum PI reboot.
Yeah, they did. But that was, a couple years ago.
Okay. All right. Anyway. But then he sits down and meets and talks with one of his friends.
Mm-hmm.
And he talks about how, things basically they were having a great conversation, great night.
Having date night.
He went to his apartment to get the Apple TV.
I'm already rolling my eyes.
Yeah. He went to get the Apple TV. Oh, I'm tired. That drive just drained me. I'm so tired. I went to my apartment to get the Apple TV, but you know what? I'm tired. I'm going to go ahead and sleep here. So he calls Michaela and lets her know I'm asleep here. Now,
Negro.
Go ahead, Tarsha.
I'm like, okay, first of all, we have plans.
Mm-hmm.
You set an expectation. I don't know how far you live from the apartment where you feel like you can physically keep your eyes open. Say you at least bring it home and say, you know what, babe, I got the Apple TV, the movie you want to watch. I'm really feeling tired. If we do this, I might fall asleep. Is that cool? Or can we watch it later so I can really watch it with you? Right. You don't stay in your place overnight and don't bring it and don't come. I'm going to call it their home and come home.
Okay.
That's how you lose trust.
Yep.
Because you didn't follow through on the little things to make your relationship grow.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're in your 20s. You stay up all night and you can't drive. I'm like, how far? You talking about 2 hours?
It's not like, I doubt that they're in Houston and he had to drive to Dallas to get his Apple TV. Let's just listen. You can figure out something.
It's a test because she did call him back. Mm-hmm. And she, very calm, said, I'm really upset that I had an expectation you were coming, we're going to watch a movie, you were going to get it, so we didn't have to pay for it. And now you're deciding to stay at your place. So he tells his friend, oh, I'm so excited for her. She took it well. She took it well. Why would she need to take it well? You knew what you did was not right. And you want her to politely tell you off.
Yeah.
Because you didn't do the right thing. If I was this friend, I'm like, dude, you messed up. You got a good woman at home. You've been dying to get married. It's been in your fantasy all this time to be this good husband. And you're behind, stay home alone, being like you were single. If I was his friend, okay, she didn't get on you. Well, let me get on you. You shouldn't have done it.
Yeah. He messed up, right?
Anyway.
So then they meet with the expert, and you can tell the body language is off. They are sitting on opposite. They're sitting on like opposite arms of the couch. They're not even on this same couch together. Almost. They are just so far apart. And Michaela, just like you mentioned, she mentions her trust level is at 50%, and she mentions the date night as a factor in that. She felt blown off.
And there was a pause. What do you mean? Why are you at 50%? How's that possible? All the things I've done in the last couple of weeks, dude.
Yeah,
I'm confused. I look puzzled too when I look at them.
Yeah, it was. No, because now hear me. If you go back and watch some of the previous videos we've done, and in fact, you can hit the playlist, right? We've taken Michaela to task for some of her actions, right? For how she's responded to things, right? Absolutely. It's Zach's turn.
It's Zach's turn.
It's your turn, bro.
It's your turn.
You screwed that up. You jacked that up.
And you shouldn't be surprised, because if you're listening to what she's asking for, that's what she's asking for.
Yeah.
So they talk it through. And now he's highly upset that she's upset or feels like she's being beaten down.
Right. Because he's basically what he starts doing is he kind of holds her hostage to her knee-jerk reaction that she had, right? He's like, this is how she always is going to be. This is her character trait. This is her flaw. This is how she's always going to be. And she's like, I apologize for it. I'm growing. I'm trying to make better responses. And of course, you know, all you have to look at is the fact that when you went to get your Apple TV, you didn't come back. She didn't blow up.
She didn't blow. I mean, she might have blown up, but she didn't blow up on the phone. She did it like I probably would have cussed in the. You know, I would have did my thing.
Probably destroyed another pack of Clorox wipes like she did with the first one.
And then she woo-saw.
Right.
Like I'm gonna call him back. I'm gonna talk in an even tone, and then tell him this was my expectation, and you didn't meet it. Please do better. Stop. Don't do this. I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
So it might have, and she just didn't do it in front of him.
Right.
Which I applaud her saying, I want to make the effort to do something different.
Absolutely. But he's unable to move past it. He's unable to forgive. And she brings that up. She's like, look, I made a mistake. I want you to move on from it. You've done stuff. I've moved on from it. Why can't I get the same courtesy? Right. It literally was like a stuck point. Like we were saying, he needs some counseling. Yeah. He needs to talk to somebody.
It was just stuck in his head. And I was like, yes, you should be upset because you are stuck and realizing it's not a Michaela thing. It's a you thing.
Yeah.
And that takes time for you to process and think it through. Like, what am I doing wrong? You keep saying it over and over that this is my trait. And that's what she tried. Like, you said, this is fundamentally. Fundamentally.
It's late when we film.
Me. Okay. Yeah, it's almost midnight. Me. And so, and she's like, no, I can change. Obviously, I did it once. I'm going to have to keep repeating that habit to do better because I care about you and I want to do better. I want to be in this relationship.
Yeah.
So help us sister out. That's all we're asking.
Yeah. I mean, and he has like a breakdown at the table. He has like a breakdown. And she's trying to console him. He's like, stop, don't touch me.
Don't touch me. I get it. I don't like to be touched when I'm okay. Got it.
Yes.
You need to go to your room. You need to recalibrate whatever you need to do. But what I think people need to find out is that, this is what I'm having. I can see how that showed up in all his other past relationships.
Right.
While they only last 2 or 3 months.
Right.
Because if you think that's just that person, they can never change. I ain't married at you. I will leave. Right. So I think he needs to see that for himself. Like, I need to work on this part.
Absolutely.
All
right. And so then they do set up he sets up a pool date for her.
Yeah, at
his friend's house.
Nice.
And they do a cooler exercise, the blind truth exercise. So they are blindfolding each other. They've written questions that they want the other person to respond. And I think the value of that is that you're getting the answer without them reading your body language to see how you're responding to their response. Right. And so she is still, based upon her questions, she's still optimistic about them moving forward.
Correct.
Him, on the other hand,
not so. He's still on the fence.
He's like, I don't know. I see a future. I'm holding out for hope, but I don't know. And you could see her body language. You can see her face, just like it's like a jab every time he says, "Yeah, I don't feel it."
You be like, for real, dude.
So I was holding out. I'm still holding out hope for Michaela and Zach. I don't. It's growing dim for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah. I think because you see great effort being played out, but they just have big moments of emotions. So it's like it's them trying to get over all the emotion that they're sharing so much at one time. They
definitely love, well, I don't know if there's love at this point, but they definitely care about each other and have feelings for each other.
Yeah, they have.
That's not in question.
No.
I think what's in question is their ability, and today it's Zach's ability, but it's also been Michaela's ability. So their collective ability to be able to move beyond the road bumps and grow from them. So I honestly believe that they will probably say yes at the end, at the 8 weeks, but I don't think that they'll be around together long after that.
I think if they decide that they want to continue work and say, you know what, that means we need to get couples counseling. I need to get counseling because I'm assuming at some point they all see this video like, ooh,
yeah,
I need to work on myself.
Yeah. All right. And then our last couple, listen, Jose and Rachel, the couple that everybody thought was just, they was going to make it all the way to the end. So, you know, they start off there, you know, she's like, they're on the same page. They meet with the expert. Expert starts asking about their intimacy and they're both a little embarrassed about it, but you know, they've been going at it. Right. So we don't see too much from them until,
let's go back because I feel like there was still a problem about the financing.
Yes.
I feel like there was a problem about listening and communication.
Yeah.
And while the expert was there, she should have brought it up again because he's not listening.
Not at all.
And so I think
he loves to hear himself talk, and that's the only person he loves to hear. And
so I think for her bringing it back up to the expert, like every time I need someone's help, and maybe if I keep talking to someone else, he's listening to me talk to someone else.
Yeah.
He gets it. And for her to say, oh, it's all perfect. We're always on the same page. He loves to hear that. So I felt that's where she made a mistake.
Yeah.
Because she wrote something, which we're going to hear in a few minutes, 2 weeks prior to this happening, that she did not share.
Yeah. So if you all know, if you've been watching our videos, again, hit that subscribe button, hit the like, request notifications, right? But I've had an issue. I've been a little leery of Jose. He's always struck me as odd. Fake could also be kind of in there. He has everything planned out, wants everything perfect, but doesn't want to deal in reality, in my opinion, right? So we find out that Rachel called him by another man's name. Okay. Now, we find out later on in the episode, he called her, or she called him Johnny.
Right.
So let's just deal with that for a moment, right? Now, you've never called me another man's name. You call me by our son's name,
right?
What have you, right? Heat a moment, you think I didn't take offense to it, right?
I hope that's your kid,
right? It's my son, right?
And they all start with K,
right? All my kids start with K, right? But they're in the circle, right? So Johnny, we know, is part of this circle of Married at First Sight,
right? So
it's not as if she called him, his name is Jose, and called him Manuel or
Jesus
or Billy or whatever.
She didn't call him like somebody he didn't know, like, who's that? Who are you calling me? So you get hypersensitive. And then we see when they get back to the apartment, he's telling, get out, get your stuff, get out. Like she slept with somebody, like, get all your stuff, blah, blah, blah. I mean, like carrying on.
Yeah. He
carried on.
And the producer is there basically trying to help mediate.
Right. Because this is very intense.
Yes.
And the language he was using, I feel like you talking to your spouse is over the top.
Right. Right. We've made it there have been times, we've been irritated with each other, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think
I have never called you out of your name.
No, I've never done that to you either. So it was completely disrespectful. Yes, I get that no one likes to be called out of their name as far as call somebody else's name. Absolutely. I think if your ego is that insecure, if your feelings, or if you're that insecure, if you have that many insecurities where something that she did, and again, she said she sincerely apologized for it right after. So it's like I imagine came right out. She said, "Oh my goodness, no, I'm sorry." Da da da.
Right.
And he had a blow up issue about it.
Right.
So then we find out that not only that, he locked her out of the apartment.
He was petty.
Yeah.
So locked out, she banging on the door, can't get a hold. She had to go bang on every other couple's door.
She going to everybody.
She looking homeless. Like, please let me in.
She like, Mary, is there any room in the inn?
So hot. She said, Mary in the inn.
She was going around.
Oh my God. And you see in the videos that dogs barking, she banging on doors, can somebody please let me in? I mean, and then the next day she's like, you locked me out. You're coming.
Well, he even was like, so how are you feeling about last night? Pretty much. And she's like, how are you feeling about last night? Because he just acted like, it just happened. And, he's like, I locked the door. I didn't know where you were. Let me just say this.
I secure the door every night for safety before I go to bed. Dude, I got my phone on me and you're not calling me like, hey, are you coming back? Or
when I know where you're going and I'm tired, I'm ready to go, I will many times stay up just to make sure you get in. Okay. Right.
Like
that's what I do. Yes, she has the key, she can get in, what have you. But if something happens, I want to be able to get to the door and let her in, or make sure you get in. Okay. Right. That's what a husband would do, in my opinion. Right. That's how
where you went. I don't know where you were going.
Homeboy locked the door and put the deadbolt on. So he was like, look, not only am I going to just lock it so you with your key, I'm going to make sure you understand that you are locked out of this place right now.
That was petty.
And so she's asking him about it. And he's, like you said, he's kind of like, oh, I didn't know. I didn't realize. And he's got this smirking grin. Mm-hmm. He has we called it a 10-year-old kind of reaction to it. Mm-hmm. He really comes like a child, right? A really immature person, right? And then in typical Jose fashion, let me know if you caught this, he tried to turn it around on her. Because she does bring out this letter that she was like, I wrote sound like she's writing her thoughts through this process.
Right. Because I think she journals.
Yes. And so she starts talking about how, I had these great plans for how we would do our marriage, but I didn't realize my husband had all of these plans for me, and that he wanted to control this and control that. And even after after the 8 weeks were up, he's wanting me to definitely move into his place and all these things. So she's doing all of these things. She's writing all these things and letting him know, because she did say, I'm done. Right. She's like, I'm out. Dude, I'm out.
Well, he said, you can get your stuff. I can show you where the boxes are.
Yeah.
And then, then she's like, you know what? I don't want to regret anything.
Right. Because the producers did kind of say, hey,
do you really want to talk through this and do this? But again, people who are the most controlling have the most insecurity. Why? Because they don't want to be hurt again.
Narcissistic people will gaslight the mess out of you.
It's so you have to realize, like, okay, he has to recognize it so he can start dealing with that. Because again, he'll be one of those people that will be alone. He'll be in long-term relationships and then be alone.
He probably needs to be alone. That's just my thoughts.
I think he can overcome it if he decides that he's going to own up to it.
In the words of Zach, no, that's his trait. That's his character. That's just how he is. He's going to be that way forever. So the couples do go out on like an outing where the ladies are over at like a smash and grab type place where they got sledgehammers and everything. And Bao was trying to kill anything and everything. Bao was like, look, I'm taking all she was yelling at TVs.
Hey, she was getting out work. She was going to make sure it wasn't going to come out on Johnny.
So Rachel is kind of telling the ladies what happened. Johnny is telling only parts of the story.
You mean Jose?
I'm sorry, yes. I called him Johnny. Oh my God. Jose
about to come and get you.
Jose, if you want that smoke, you can come. I'm in Phoenix. Come on down. Let's see if you got that. You're going to come with that same attitude and energy.
Ooh, boy.
All right.
Jose.
Jose was telling part of the story. See, I even called him Johnny. All right, well.
Right.
But Jose was coming with, half the story. Like, she told me she wanted me a divorce. And the guys were like, wait, where did this come from? How did
I would love you
talk to me, where did this come from?
What happened?
Well, she called me out my name or called me somebody else's name.
Well, we kind of had something and maybe unintentionally, accidentally, I locked the door on her. And all the brother was like,
I ain't never unintentionally locked a deadbolt.
Unintentionally locked. And I see, this has to get to the place that people need to call people out on their stuff.
Yep.
Like, man, I know I haven't known you. Gil is pretty good about this. He pretty like, man, we're missing some details. He does it in a really nice way. We're missing some details in this story.
Yeah.
Can you fill in all the blanks we have? Not a couple blanks. Can you fill in all the blanks we have? Because she just wouldn't just go straight to divorce.
Yeah.
I can see typically. And then that's when it comes out from Ryan, like, okay, it's going to come out.
Let me just say this.
It was Johnny's name.
Right.
And Johnny looking like, I see her. That mess with you, girl. I'm like, best of it. It was Johnny.
Because Jose, once the guys were like, oh, is she, are you thinking that she's sleeping around? He's like, well, Jose's like, no, not that. Because again, he's a narcissist, in my opinion. He likes to have, everything has to be about him and everything has to flow the way he wants it to flow. And so he is basically trying to paint this narrative where it's all on her. Like she's the one who's just flipping out and losing her mind and causing all of this. And even Zach's like, that don't make sense. That don't add up. Something. So they're all doing this because now the way he's telling it, it's almost like he has this, they're trying to see if Jose has this right to feel like she's cheating on him, because he brings up the fact that on the boat at the honeymoon.
You remember when she said, bro,
let it go.
But
she explained it.
Right. She
explained it perfectly.
So why are you upset that called Johnny's name? And Johnny's like, dude, I am not in it.
Yeah. So she says she is done. Now, as we see in the trailers, she's not completely done. So she ain't walked away completely. But the lovey-dovey couple that we all were looking at and saying, no, there's something else there. Yeah. So it came out. I don't know where they are right now as far as how they'll end up. But Rachel, run.
Listen, again, it's going to take a lot of patience, and everybody needs to be in counseling.
Yeah.
I think everyone at some point in their life needs to go to counseling.
Absolutely.
Because we're all not right.
No.
So we're in the fall.
And if you're on Married at First Sight,
there is something not right.
And listen, the experts are just the beginning.
Right.
Because their track record's not that great, right?
No, but I mean, they're all there because they say that they can't find somebody. It's not that they can't find anybody. They're not recognizing how they're the denominator.
The common denominator, yep.
In that relationship.
Yep.
So once they can determine, hopefully this, and showing that you see yourself now on video,
right,
that, okay, I could probably do this.
And have the emotional intelligence and the self-awareness to say, yeah, this is where I messed up, right? Instead of putting it all on the other person.
Right.
Right.
That's how you learn.
That is definitely how you learn. All right. Anybody else? All right. Yeah, I think we're 3 weeks. We're about to head into 4 weeks. So we're almost at the halfway point for this round of Married at First Sight, the season 13 that we're in. So we'll see how it turns out. But definitely make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, hit the like button, request notifications, and we'll see you next time. Have a great one. Be blessed.